Trevor here, and today I bring to you from the SCP Foundation Vaults item number SCP-096, Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell in a 5-meter squared airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside of the cell. Any and all photos, videos, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly forbidden without approval from Dr. and O5. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. The subject shows very little muscle mass, with preliminary analysis suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. The skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open to 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to the average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no sign of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sentient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with the pressure sensors inside of its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly via video recording or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from 35 km an hour to km per hour, and seems to depend on the distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. This reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 096-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including the breach of Foundation secrecy and large loss of civilian life, retrieval of the subject should be considered alpha priority. Dr. Redacted has also petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. See Interview 096-1. The termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Dr. on date. See Incident 096-1-A. The following is an audio log from Interview 096-1 between Dr. and Captain, the former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9-A for Retrieval Incident 096-1-A.
It always sucks ass to get retrieval duty. You have no idea what the damn thing is capable of besides whatever jacked up information the field techies can scrape up. And you're lucky if they even tell you the whole damn story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about a damn thing.
Could you describe the mission, please?
Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers, one of them my team, and one on backup with Zulu 9B and Dr. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, else he would have taken us out then and there.
And here in your report it says that SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. It was degrees?
Actually, it was... And yes, it was butt naked, and didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal Redacted got ready to bag it. That's when Dr. Redacted called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned, and my whole squad saw it.
And that's when SCP-096 entered an agitated emotional state?
Yep. Sorry. Got the willies for a second.
Yeah, that's alright.
Yeah. Well, I never saw its face, but my squad did, and they paid up the ass for it.
Could you describe it a little more, please?
Yeah. So it started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring though, it sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy. We started firing at it when it picked up Corporal and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for help. Fucking A. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target, round after round. Didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started.
And that's when you ordered the use of a AT-4 HEDT launcher?
An anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP got loose. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target.
There was significant damage to SCP-096?
It didn't even fucking flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, except for now I had half of his torso gone.
But it was taking damage.
If it was, it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs and its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, and like I said, it just kept tearing my squad apart.
So wait, there's no actual structural damage? How many rounds did you say were fired at SCP-096?
At least 1,000. Our door gunner kept his gun on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds. Now that's 650 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it.
And this is when Zulu 9B arrived, correct?
Yeah, my squad was gone. Zulu 9B managed to get the bag over his head and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God, Buddha, or whoever thought I should survive. The jackass.
Actually, we have obtained an artist's depiction of SCP-096's face. Would you like to see it?
You know, after hearing that thing's screams and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No, just no.
Alright. I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Let this be on the record that I am formally requesting SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible.
The following is an audio log from document 096-1 between Dr. Dan and D personnel number 9031. This document details the experiment headed by Dr. Dan with the purpose to test SCP-096's abilities while obtaining a complete physical description of SCP-096. D9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and former tattoo artist. D9031 is placed inside Bathysphere 303-A, which is then lowered into the Tonga Trench off the coast of New Zealand. Position is approximately redacted kilometers from SCP-096's temporary containment cell at Site Redacted. The following was recorded via video surveillance inside Bathysphere 303-A between it and Dr. Dan's control site on the New Zealand mainland. The video starts once Bathysphere 303-A reaches final depth of 10,800 meters.
It stopped. What now?
Do you feel fine? No sickness? Anything?
My ears hurt.
That should be expected. Now, on your left should be a steel container. Open it, and there will be a manila folder holding several photographs. Open that, and describe the first photograph, please.
Nothing. It's an empty cell.
Thank you. Please set this photograph face down on the receptacle to your right, and look at the next photograph.
It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think.
Describe it. please.
It's pale and bony. Sort of creepy, actually.
Place the photograph in the receptacle, face down, and look at the next one.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Describe the photograph.
It's I don't know, some creepy-ass person.
Describe the photograph. Please.
Hell, man. He's pale. He has white eyes. Something fucked up is happening with his mouth. What the hell is this thing?
On your right, there should be another steel container. Open it.
It's a pad of paper and a pencil.
Yes. Please draw a sketch of the photograph you saw.
I'm done.
Good. Place the drawing in the receptacle to your left and close the door.
What now?
Please stand by.
Fuck! Shit, what the fuck?
That concludes the file for SCP-096. I hope you've enjoyed this illustration and narration. You can visit the description below for all the SCPs I've covered that relate to SCP-096. If you have an SCP or a short story that you'd like to see narrated and illustrated, let me know in the comments. You can find me streaming live on Twitch and posting more art to my Instagram and Twitter. Links are below. Thanks for hitting that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.